Myers Metal Detectors, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, where we sell nothing but fun and adventures, treasure hunting gear, and anything you can imagine for metal detecting. Give us a call, 813-237-1939. Happy hunting and dig deeper.
Live from sunny Florida, it's Treasure Talk.
Welcome, folks.
Welcome indeed.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Treasure Talk. And today we are going to have some excellent guests, aren't we, Jeff?
Yes, we are. We certainly are.
All righty. Well, I'll just do a little housekeeping here before the housekeeping. Just want to remind you folks that we do still have some of the 35-year anniversary specials from Mine Lab, and also we got specials on the Naka products on the Legend and some other detectors too. So if the folks need something, just holler at me. I'll be in here in the shop tomorrow from 10:30 to 3:30, and then Wednesday 10:30 to 3:30.
And if Phil don't have it in stock, you don't need it.
We even have the famous Treasure Talk titanium scoop. That thing is a nice scoop, and you put that Myers Pro handle on it, and you've got a killer scoop that weighs like 2¼ pounds.
Yep, and that you're not going to have any problems at all with that handle. That sucker is sturdy.
Yes, it is. Steve did an awesome job on that. I've sold a few of them already, and the folks are really liking it.
Yeah, I've got mine installed, and I tell you what, you're not going to break that handle. And I think Dirty Paws Detecting, they just got a Treasure Talk Pro Citra Titanium with a Myers Pro handle, didn't they?
Yes, and so did, I just saw his name go through the screen real fast. My buddy Robert Ridgway, he came in and got it. And he said to thank Jocelyn for coming up with this idea for the show because it cost him a lot of money. So every time he comes in, he has to he buys the stuff we show on the show, and he just likes it. And that scoop was his latest one that he got, and it's an awesome scoop for sure.
It is for sure.
It's so light, it's just unbelievable. And you put that heavy duty handle on it, it's still super light. And it's so funny the comments that I get in the shop here when the people pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
They just have to have it. It's like you can't pass that by, especially when you had a real heavy scoop. You know, you had a T-Rex or a Stealth or a Motley. Not to say they're bad. Out in the water, those guys are okay because it's not as heavy. But if you're in and out, you want to have a light scoop.
Yes, indeed. And that one, we had it engineered with the jewelry catcher.
Yes, got the heavy duty large jewelry catcher on it. And just an awesome product for sure. But I guess I better get to our housekeeping so that we can get our guest on here.
Yeah, let's hope the rest of them join.
Okay, well, we just need one good guest, and it looks like we've got him in the in the green room, so we've got it covered. So, folks, as always, today's show is brought to you by your friends here at Myers Metal Detectors, where we sell fun and adventure. And the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed here by the Treasure Talk guest and member belong solely to the guest and member, not necessarily to Phil Myers, Jocelyn Myers, Myers Metal Detectors, or Jeff Monin. And, well, I'm getting good at that, Jeff, after almost 5 years. And the purpose of Treasure Talk is to promote the hobby of metal detecting and treasure hunting in all forms, and to educate our members in a fun, informative manner.
Yes, and we will do that tonight because this is going to be interesting.
Yes, it is. And I want to remind folks that Jocelyn is sitting about 20 feet from me. She doesn't like to get on the camera, but she will be yelling questions at me, and Jeff will be grabbing questions. And I'm not quick enough to see on the screen to see the questions, but sometimes I'll get them. But so we got you covered. If you got some questions for our guests, please type them in, and we'll get them answered for you, for sure.
And I see Ricky T. He says, hi, everybody. Stuff in his face and just got tuned in.
Yeah, well, he, from what I hear from some friends in the West State Metal Detecting Club, I think he was at the Peace River doing some digging.
Oh, yeah?
So hope he found
good. That's good. That's good. I tell you what I'm going to do right now, and then I will get rid of this picture. What we're giving away tonight, and soon to be in stock at Myers Metal Detectors, and the winner tonight, it'll probably be about 2 weeks before you get it. But this was donated by a friend of ours, and this is what it is. If you are interested at all in sharking or anything like that, this is the item we're giving away. Now you can pull that behind you. You can use it as a hand sifter. There's all kinds of good uses for that. And it doesn't have to necessarily be in the water. It can be up on land or whatever. But that is the giveaway tonight that we're going to be giving away later. So just keep your eyes peeled and let's go sharking.
Yes, let's do it for sure.
Let's go sharking. Okay. Well, I tell you what, Phil, we've got the one, and which is all we need. So, you know, you have seen some of the previous shows. We talk about, you know, there's various ways to treasure hunt. And we think that hunting for shark's teeth and other artifacts is definitely a treasure hunter's dream. And these people, Aristakats Charters out of Venice, Florida, they specialize in diving for shark's teeth. And I think there's some other things they do as well, other type of charters. So if you're not necessarily a scuba diver, we're going to get the complete skinny on everything Aristakats Charters does. And I'm getting a phone call. So let's go and let's bring on our guest for tonight, Captain Matt from Aristakats Charters. Hello.
Guys, how's everybody doing?
Hey, welcome. It looks like you got a little sun.
Yeah, I kind of live in it.
Yeah, for sure. So how long have you been doing the Aristakats diving?
So I'm the newest captain on the team. I've only been with Aristocat for about I think it's about 5 months now. Mm-hmm. So Captain Chaz and Captain Jamie. Jamie is like the OG, if you want to, of the Sharktooth hunting here in this area. He's been at it for 16, 17 years. Captain Chaz has been doing it for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. I'm the new kid on the block, but been getting my feet wet a little bit in it for about 4 or 5 months now.
Okay. And how many people, when you go out on a charter, how many people do you take out at a time?
6 people. Yep. Six divers at a time. We got the captain, we got the first mate, and then we have 6 divers.
Okay. And how deep is the water you guys are going in?
It'll be anywhere from, I'd say, 12 to 33-ish feet. You're in the second atmosphere. So there's no need for any, well, unless you dive for 9 hours straight or something like that, like no need for a surface interval. So give you an hour and a half bottom time, go drop you on some good grounds and let you go do some hunting and find some teeth. We find all kinds of different things. So 90-minute bottom time, come up, we move to the next spot, drop you in another 90 minutes. We run typically 2 charters a day. If we have enough people, it takes 4 people to make a trip. So get 4 people for the morning trip, and then we'll run it. If we have less than that, we won't. But we might make some things happen. But typically, it's 4 people to make the charter go out, and then 6 is a full trip, 90-minute bottom time, 2 dives, hour and a half bottom time. So that's kind of, and that would be a 1 trip. And then if you want to do it all day, then you get 4 tanks or 4 dives. But so it's half day trips would be what you were going for typically, unless you wanted to pull it all day.
Okay, well, it looks like we're getting questions in already. Explained about what does the second atmosphere mean?
All right, so where we're sitting right now is the first atmosphere. When you go down 33 feet, you're in the second atmosphere, and then down to 66, you're in the third atmosphere, and then to 99, you're in the fourth atmosphere, so on and so forth. So every 33 feet is an atmosphere, and that plays in, like, if you're a certified diver, then all that stuff will make sense to you. You're taught all that stuff when you get certified, but since you're in basically snorkeling depths, you're obviously scuba diving, not snorkeling or free diving. You don't really need surface intervals. A lot of people get concerned because they're so used to going out and doing like rec dives or these recreational dives and stuff like that that are maybe 80 feet or whatever, and they need a surface interval, which means time on the surface on the boat before their next dive because of nitrogen buildup in their bloodstream and so on and so forth. But in this environment, we don't need it because we're diving so shallow.
Okay. But they all have to be certified divers to come out on it.
Absolutely. We're not taking you if you're not certified. It's just too much risk and liability. So if you're thinking, oh, you just book a trip with us and come and we'll strap a BCD and a tank on your back and drop you in the water, that's absolutely not the case.
Yeah.
Now, do you take them do you do any type of charters for people just into the Peace River? If it's like, let's say it was 10 foot of water and they had let's say a Nemo hookah and they were qualified to use that.
Nope.
Nope, can't do that?
So we don't do any charters up in the Peace River. There's some other outfits that might do that kind of stuff, but we are based out of Venice. And we come out of Venice and we hit the good Sharktooth grounds that are in that area there.
Okay. Now, when they are doing the Sharktooth searching, do you dig any, or are you just looking for surface finds?
So typically, your first time people, a lot of times they come out and they do a lot of digging and stuff, and all that does is just start at the bottom and decrease visibility. Typically what you want to do is, well, let me start out with, we don't have great visibility in this area. So if you're used to diving in the Keys or some other place where you have 50 foot of visibility, that's not what we have here. I would say our average day is maybe 7 feet of visibility, which is actually, in my opinion, it's actually a good thing because it makes you actually focus in on what you can see in front of you rather than like what's 40 feet away from you, because you're looking for shark teeth. You know what I mean? You're not looking for a Goliath grouper that's 6 feet long. You know, you're looking for something. You want to go for 5-6 inch teeth, but you're looking for smaller things. And obviously they could be covered in silt and all these different variables. But so you focus, you want to get up off the bottom. Basically, you don't want to be sucking dirt the whole time and scanning the bottom, getting into the proper area, which is not beach sand. Get into gravel and reefy stuff, and what is going to trap teeth as these currents and storms and stuff basically uncover them. Think of the grounds that we hunt as layers of an onion. So as the currents and storms deteriorate the bottom off of it, it kind of uncovers more of the fossil bed. Right, so it exposes these teeth, and it's not just megalodon teeth. It's everything. We find mammoth molars. We find mammoth tusks. We find these giant, like 3-toed land sloths that were here millions of years ago. Everything you're going to see is something that you're the first person to ever touch or see, and it's obviously millions of years old. It's all fossilized. Unless you find like somebody's beer can that washed up here from Cuba or something. So you want to get about off. You want to get off the bottom a couple feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, something like that, whatever visibility will allow. And then just start looking for triangular shapes. It's not going to be just one big black fossilized megalodon tooth just laying there. Like it's not going to be that. It could be covered up and just the shoulder of it showing out of the surface, kind of like this. It could be laying on the bottom, like what you would typically think. It's just no telling. It could have growth on it, like with barnacles and like reefy type stuff growing on it. So it's not just going to be one big black tooth. It's going to be, it could be pink, it could be green, it could be brown, depending on the environment that it's been embedded in for millions of years.
That makes good sense. We do have a question from Rick T. He says, what can you offer to someone that isn't dive certified?
We can kind of point you in the right direction to get certified. Not much more than that. You can come out and maybe watch what happens, what we call a bubble watcher, but you're not going to be able to go in the water, unfortunately. It's just a fact of the matter. It's an insurance thing. It's a liability thing. It's a multitude of reasons why we can't. If you're not certified, you need to be certified to even go in the water with scuba equipment, anyways. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Hey, our buddy Joe Busy's asking, do you guys ever run into bull sharks or hammerheads?
It's an extremely rare thing, I'll be honest with you. So we do have the tarpon migration that comes through here, which is actually right now, this time of year. And we'll see so I've been doing it for about 5 months now, and I've only seen 2 sharks. And that's with me being on the surface. I heard last week a guy saw like a sandbar come by him. Haven't seen or heard of any bull sharks. But about, I'd say about 2 months ago, me and my first mate were sitting on the boat, and first mate Grayson, awesome guy. Y'all will enjoy. If you book with us, you're going to enjoy the company y'all have. But Grayson and I were sitting on the boat, and sure enough, we seen a dorsal fin coming through the water, and it wound up being about a 12-foot hammerhead swimming through. But it's not a very often occurrence. I almost feel like in these shallow waters, I do a lot of deeper diving, but in these shallow waters, it's almost like the bubble noise or something just kind of deters them. Like even with the tarpon coming through, nobody ever sees a tarpon. It's almost like the bubble noise from the scuba equipment, and you exhaling, the bubbles coming up to the surface. It just deters everything around you. We don't really see we do see some marine life, depending on the area that we drop you in. It could be like ledges and reefy stuff. You'll see some reef fish and stuff like that. But when it comes to big prey animals like that, it's not something that we don't see a lot of it. We see a lot of the couple million-year-old remnants of them, but not the live ones.
Okay.
No, that's good.
Nobody wants to run into great white shark, but I think those guys are more in the cooler water anyway. I know sometimes they do come around the tip, but the bull sharks can be kind of aggressive, but I guess it's different. If you're underwater doing your own thing, they're not messing with you.
Yeah, no. Especially if you don't have fish on a stringer, or you're not shooting a spear gun. A lot of I feel like they've become attuned to the sound of a spear gun get fired, and it's like the dinner bell to them. Not a whole lot of big sharks. Haven't had anybody on my boat saying, "Oh my gosh, I saw a huge shark." I've had one in the last 5 months that actually saw a shark that I didn't see. The other 2 sharks I saw, they didn't see. So, of course, they're in the water. I mean, at the end of the day, you're in their waters. They're in the water with you, but it's not something that, oh my gosh, it's not like Discovery Channel. It's not Jaws. It's not Shark Week. They're not out. Oh my gosh, there's a human in the water. I must go eat. It's not that. I'm sorry.
Right.
Well, it's the same, it's the same thing. I've seen sharks when we metal detect in the water, we're, neck deep. And, we're in their world. So, you got to cut them a little bit of slack. It's their world. And we've seen them patrolling around. I've been bumped, but, and that's about it. And they're a little curious, and then that's about all. So, if you go after them or try to mess with them, they're probably going to bite you. But,
the questions are starting to stack up here. This one is from Bill Crow, and it says, "Is Venice a special place for shark teeth?" And I'm going to add to that, why is Venice such a good place for shark teeth?
Yeah, so good question, Bill. So Venice is a special place for shark teeth. So the reason that is so I can't remember the names of the periods of time, but back in ancient times, I'm not going to say, well, yeah, I am going to say ancient times, millions of years ago. During the Ice Age, obviously when saltwater water freezes, the polar ice caps and everything draw the water in and makes the water basically disappear. So the oceans kind of disappear. So we had the Florida Peninsula at one point was not just as we see it now. It went way out into the Gulf and way out into the Atlantic. Well, not so much into the Atlantic. It kind of drops off on that side, but way out into the Gulf. And then obviously after the Ice Age, it flooded or before, I can't remember. But the Florida Peninsula was not what it is now. It was basically all underwater. So that's where we had that's why we find the mag teeth here, and also the land animals. So giant horse teeth, camel teeth, all these sloth stuff. We find all these land animals also with the megalodon teeth. So the reason that is because there's an ancient riverbed that ran right out of where we're at right here in Venice, and then kind of turned south and ran out where we know it as the Gulf now. And so with that being said, whenever everything died or was feeding on stuff or whatever the case is, however it happened, it all wound up in that riverbed, and it's all slowly washing out to sea over millions and millions of years. And we're right here in that riverbed. So hopefully that's a kind of a shorter rendition and maybe not the perfect scientific explanation of how that is. Captain Jamie actually just probably the best to explain that one.
I would imagine being that it was a riverbed millions of years ago, there's a lot of fossils still there that are just probably buried in different storms and cleared apart. Clear it, and they just get exposed. Is that what happens with them?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I said all the ancient riverbed being there for millions of years, animals died and sand covered them up, and now you guys are finding them as different environmental factors come in play and uncover them, right? Because you're not digging for them, you're just picking them up by eye.
Hey, this is Captain Jamie. Yeah, the answer to that question is that the fossils are all over the state of Florida, but to get to that Pliocene era, which is 2 to 8 million years old, there was a riverbed that used to flow out through Venice. So that's why they think that's why all the fossils are migrated there, is from a river.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ancient riverbed.
Okay, we got this question from 513 Diggs. What is one of your favorites that a client find?
A big tooth is always one of my favorites, but one of the best things I thought was the most interesting that we found was a Colombian mammoth jaw. The bottom of it had 3 mammoth teeth stuck in the jaw, and that was really cool. And another one would be, today we had a diver that had only 10 dives in. He just basically learned how to dive, and he found a 4.5-inch meg tooth today, and he was super excited.
Well, yeah, I guess you had Moonlight Graham out the other day, didn't you, Jamie? And he found a 4 or 5 incher.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Good. Well, we're glad that you were able to pop in. I don't think the other fellow's going to make it, but that's
Yeah,
all right.
I'm told he got in a little fender bender on the way home, so he's stuck on the side of the road with his fender bender.
Well, let's just hope he's okay.
Yeah, the picture shows quarter panel ain't okay, but he's okay.
Well, as long as he's okay, quarter panels can be repaired.
Yes, sir.
Body's not quite so much.
Yeah.
You got any more questions there, Phil? I lost my place.
Yeah, I'm looking at him. Dirty Paul's Detecting says, do you dive with dive buddies, or you're out there on your own, or how you doing?
So we like to tell people your dive buddy is on the boat, which is a captain and a dive master or a crew member, and we are watching your bubbles the entire time. But to help folks that are very uncomfortable with that scenario, we have a guide that's available to hire, and they will literally guide you on how to find teeth and dive with you directly. Most of the divers, though, are solo dives because the nature of what you're doing. You're looking down in the water, and what we call a great day of visibility was like today. It was like 15 feet of viz. An average is 8 to 10. So it's always easier when you're solo because you're always looking down, not looking out at your buddy. But we do have plenty of people that do buddy dives, and they bring what they call as a buddy line. They bring like that poly line you get at Home Depot, and they'll make about 15-foot line on it. So you can look down on one end, on one side of it, and the other person be on the other side, and you don't ever have to worry about losing your buddy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, how much? I would ask how far do they swim when they're diving?
I mean I could tell you the textbook answer is like 300 feet. The boaters got to stay 300 feet away from the flag, so that's where they're technically supposed to stay. But they usually go out a heading, and we usually anchor, right, Captain Matt? What way we anchor downwind, and then we have them swim upwind.
Yep.
So they sometimes they go farther. So it's typically whatever the diver's comfortable with. They will go out. I've literally got some divers that'll swim right around the boat, and there's a ongoing joke that a lot of the teeth are found right under the boat. Today's example, we had 2 divers found 2 4.5-inch megs, and they were all found really close to the boat.
Well, you just never know, do you?
Nope, not at all.
And we got a question here from Bill Crow, and he's saying, what size is the average tooth that's found?
What do you think, Matt?
I'd say 2.5, 3. I mean,
I think that's right.
Yeah, I'd say if you hit that 5-inch mark, you're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we typically you'll see us do a post when somebody finds a big one like 5 inches, and you always got to remember that a 10-inch every inch tooth is 10 feet of a shark. So today we found 2 4.5-inch teeth. So that means that shark was big as a Greyhound bus, 45 feet long. But the average is 2 to 3-inch tooth. And the reason that is because they feel like down here in Florida that this was like the nursery for megalodons. And they find usually a lot bigger teeth up towards North Carolina and out there. And the reason that is because that's like they try to compare it to migrating whales. Whales go down to the Dominican Republic and the Caribbean to spawn, and they feel like the megalodons used to come here to South Florida or Florida to do that, and they migrate up towards Maine and Nova Scotia and Canada and all that to feed on krill. So that's the same thing the megs used to do. They used to go up towards North Carolina.
Very interesting. I know that they have been they find a lot of teeth up there, but I didn't know really what the reasons were. Now there's going to be somebody wanted to know, and I forget who it was. They want to know the type of equipment that you have, the boats, this type of stuff.
Okay, Captain Matt, that's yours. They'll tell them about it.
All right. So what we got is we got 2 ProCat 2860 tournament editions. that we rock out every day. They are the most reliable things on the water. They are awesome boats. And then when we fill those two, if you're lucky enough or you want to charter a really big boat, you hit up Captain Jamie and you charter the 34-foot twin V.
Okay, now explain to people, please, what you say a Pro Cat. Now, that's not a V-bottom boat. That's a catamaran.
Catamaran, yes, sir.
Okay, there's a difference in how they ride,
yes, sir.
And all that kind of stuff. These people may not know exactly what the difference would be.
Well,
Yes.
I'm on that comment. I'm a little biased because I've had a catamaran for 21 years. But I think that once you ride on a catamaran, you'll never question whether a catamaran or a V-hull is better. If it tell you anything, I own 3 boats, and I could have bought any boat I wanted, and I bought catamarans. And the big benefit of a catamaran is if you've ever tried to slam a piece of plywood on the ground, you almost can't do it because it catches that air curtain when you try to slam it. That's the same way with a catamaran. When it tries to slam down, it doesn't slam like a V-hull.
Better ride, much better ride. You don't get the boom.
And the other benefit, since we run dive charters, is the motors are spread out. So we have the dive ladder right in the middle of the boat, right at the middle of the back. So it makes a lot more stable platform for you to dive off of. And that in itself is worth it.
Yeah. So
I think with the Cat, am I not correct in saying that you get a little bit more deck space?
Yes. Yeah, you do. I mean, our catamarans are 9 foot wide by 28 foot long. And then the newest addition we got is a 34-foot twin V, and that's a 2022. And that's got almost a 12-foot beam. So it's 3 foot wider, and it's 34 foot long.
Yeah. So since y'all can see my screen, so a V-hull is this, right? So that's a V-hull chops through the water like this. It's basically displacing water like this. So a V-hull would be more like the shape of a W, if you will, right? So you have 2 sponsons like this, right? So that's how it rides through. But where my thumbs meet kind of is like an air cushion. So you have basically 2 holes, and the 2 holes would be called sponsons. And as you ride through the water, you trap air between the 2 of them, so you get more of an air ride feel. And also with that, versus a V-hull, the motors are mounted in the center. A catamaran, they mount them over the sponsons, which are the furthest points apart. So us as captains, they're super maneuverable. So getting in and out of the dock or whatever we need to do is awesome there. But also with that, when it comes to the dive ladder, our dive ladder is mounted in the center. So if we're rocking, if I'm doing this and rocking, our dive ladder doesn't do anything versus if I'm doing, V-hull, right? And the ladder is mounted on this side over here. That thing does this, and the divers are trying to get up, and it's kind of a pain in the butt.
Hi, Bill and David. That's some divers from this morning that were out on our charter.
Are you out of the crow's nest, Jamie?
Yeah, they're out doing a sunset cruise.
That's very good. Well, I would think because divers coming up out of the water with all the tanks and the gear and everything on, it's a little bit of, clumsy out of the water. So a catamaran being more stable, it's going to have a little bit easier time.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought. I always wanted a catamaran, but I never did find one I really wanted.
And another benefit of our boats is that I've been running these dive charters out of Venice since 2008. So that's about 16 years. And I grew up here in Venice. So not only you get local knowledge, but you get water knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, we got a question here from Bill Crow, and he's asking, how far away from the beach are the teeth usually found? That's a good question. How far out do you guys go?
Usually, I'd say half a mile to 3 miles out. When you say Captain?
Yeah, we literally can find them right off the beach in 8 to 10 foot of water, all the way out to 35 foot of water. So, and that's about a 0 to about 2 miles offshore.
Okay.
And it stretches down to from about Venice Beach all the way down to Inglewood Beach. So that's another 6 miles long. So about 6 miles long by 2 miles wide.
Does anybody ever find the large teeth like you guys had today, the 4 or 5 inch teeth right off the beach, or you just got to go out to deeper water for that?
Well, that's a tricky question because I think you can find them, but the way remember I told you that originally this is like a riverbed. Well, the way the riverbed works is that you really don't find. It takes a while, like hundreds of years, for those teeth to wash up onto the beach. Every once in a while, you'll get somebody claim that they found a big tooth on the beach, and some of the avid fossil hunters that you can actually tell by the deposits that these megalodon were sitting in, they have a certain texture to them and a certain look to them. So we've had a few people over the years that will claim they found a big tooth on the beach, and you can look at it and tell it's from North Carolina, or it's not exactly, it's not jiving with the story. But the answer, that's the long version. The short version is yes, you can find them on the beach, but the chances of finding them on the beach versus finding them out on the water where we dive is about 1 to every 500.
Okay, cool. We're going to take a quick minute here, and I'm going to show our people what our giveaway is tonight real quick. So I'm going to pop that up on the screen. You see that right there. That is a sifter that you can use while you're in the Peace River, sifting for shark's teeth, or if you're metal detecting, whatever. There's a lot of uses for this, and that's what we're giving away tonight. So just get ready. We're going to do a giveaway here pretty soon. So I will get that ready, and I'll be right back to you.
That's awesome.
All right, guys. Let me ask you this: if you find a 5-inch shark in really good shape, what kind of value does that have for a collector?
A lot of it depends on the how pretty of a tooth it is, I guess. So, and what the color is. So the very indicative of Venice is a dark black tooth, black and gray. But every once in a while we find a tooth that's called a golden beach tooth or a blonde tooth, and the root itself, which is the top of the tooth, is yellow color. That's what we call blondes, and those are worth. I've actually had a guy that does fossil hunting and sells fossil for a living, and he sold the most I've ever heard of a tooth sold. He said he brokered a buyer buying a big, large megalodon tooth in perfect condition for $60,000. But the average tooth you're going to sell a tooth for, like a 5-inch pretty one, would be probably $1,000 to $2,000. One of the captains here sold a brownish blonde tooth for $8,000 about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Very cool.
Cool. And it looks like Ricky T had an interesting question. Captain Janie, any info on the Indian burial area that was discovered just offshore?
Well, I can give you firsthand information on that. So the info is about 7 years ago, they found that burial ground. One of our divers found a piece of a skull, and he was friends with a pathologist or whatever up in Gainesville, and he sent him an email of it, a picture of it, and they said, "Oh, you got to show us where that's at." So they went down there and found it, and it happened to be right around the wintertime when we had our winter visitors here. And there's a place called Spanish Point up in Nokomis, and they've got a whole museum of the Indians that used to live here. So they charge $5 a person to give a presentation about that. And there was probably 800 to 1,000 people at this thing when they first discovered that. It made news all over the world. So now, they put a buoy, 4 buoys on each corner of it, and they had some students or trainees out there doing it, and they were going through it. But I don't know if they ran out of funding. But from what I'm told is that they still got it not barricaded, but buoyed off, and no one's supposed to be diving in there or be in there at all. And they, I guess the Seminole Indians or the Miccosukee, which is down there in South Florida, they asked that they no longer disturb it anymore. So I think that's the main reason why they're not doing anything with it now. So now they're just leaving it in the water as it is.
Very cool. I'm going to pop this up on the screen for the giveaway. Now, this is what you put in the chat, just as I have it. Hashtag Aristakats, all capitals. It's got to be all capitals. That's what you put in the chat to be entered to win the sifter for the teeth and all that kind of good stuff. So I'll give you a few minutes to get that done, and then we'll do our giveaway.
That's awesome.
Now, do you guys ever find Indian artifacts when you're underwater like that, diving?
I think legally you're not allowed to take any Indian artifacts. So I have heard of folks doing that, mostly in the rivers, not so much out here in the Gulf. So I guess that's one of the most things that they're most proud of, I guess, or whatever, is that is one of the, in whatever it is, North America, underwater Indian burial ground there is. There's not many of those around. So that was pretty amazing in itself. So not really, not per se. I've heard of a couple people finding some arrowheads and stuff like that, and some Indian beads and stuff like that, but not on a normal thing.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, in the rivers you would find that.
Yes. Yep.
You're dealing with an area that's probably millions of years old, whereas the rivers, it's not that old.
Yep, that's right. And I guess they carbon dated those. Some of the relics or bones they found in that Indian burial ground, and they were supposedly about 8,000 years old.
Yeah, I guess the water level was lower than maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I went to that presentation, and what they were, the water used. I mean, back millions of years ago, they said land went on another 100 miles, but the where these burial grounds were, where they find the Indian remains, was mud bogs, and they were like little bogs that the Indians would bury the people in, and they would, I guess the sea moss had filled those mud bogs in, and it literally preserved the remains. When they discovered a couple of those human skeletons or whatever, they found they still had some of what they were eating. They still had the remains in their stomach, I guess, or whatever.
Well, I guess that bog would be like the La Brea tar pits, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly right. Yep, that's exactly right.
That's interesting. I tell you what, a lot of people don't realize, if any of you out there ever want to dive, it's an amazing thing, isn't it, Jamie?
Yes.
It's completely new, different world.
Yes. It's diving will change your habits for sure. You'll decide you'll change the places where you go on vacation. And the thing about it is like on the beach stuff, people walk the beaches, and there's hundreds of people walk the beaches. There is not hundreds of people dive in these spots. So, and we, on us particular, we go to a whole bunch of different spots, and I try to treat it like farming. Like you go to your different fields and you plow your crops different times of the year and different times. We always are rotating where we go accordingly.
So you got, yeah, I can understand that. Did you get any more questions, Philip?
Yeah, they're rolling in, but I wanted to comment on one of my friends was diving down there, and he found a really nice heavy shark's tooth, and when he got in the boat, it was made out of cement.
There was a guy called Bob Morgan that used to he would do that, and he would put the number on the back of the tooth, and you could call him up and he would tell you when he put that in the water.
Yeah, that's pretty funny though.
For a while there, they used to call them Morgan teeth. And then some of them he would just put in just cement, like you said, plaster, and then other ones he would paint them red and all that and put a name on them, and it was a pretty like a scavenger hunt kind of thing for a while there.
Yeah.
Okay, now there are different colors of these teeth, correct?
Yeah, there's megalodon teeth, which is the most sought after, but there's different kinds of shark's teeth too. There's hemipristas, there's sand tigers, there's we used to call them makos, extinct makos, but now some people call them hass tails. That's the scientific name, or they call them extinct white sharks. So they all go by a little bit different name. But that's the fun part. You just never know what you're going to come up with when you go down there. I had a gentleman diver today that found an old bottle, and I thought it looked really neat, and he just wasn't interested in it, and so he threw it away. And I was like, wow, I'm really surprised you didn't want to keep that.
I've been finding a lot of awesome big Hemis and huge Makos on my boat. And of course, Captain Chaz and Captain Jamie have been smoking me on Megs here lately, but don't worry, I'm coming for y'all.
We got a question here from Moose in New York, and he's asking, ever find any treasure coins when you're out there?
Well, I just had somebody find a coin yesterday, and it said Prosperity Cruises.
Oh, it's a token then, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I'd be interested to know if anybody knows. I mean, tried to Google Prosperity Cruises and never did. And he said it looked a little bit older, but I wasn't sure where that came from.
No, I don't know. Well, should we do a giveaway, Philip?
Yes, let's do the giveaway, Jeff.
Okay, let me pop this up on stage. And let's go over here. And here we go. Round and around and around we go. Let's see who wins the sifter tonight. John Tyson is the winner.
Tyson's the winner. Awesome.
All right, congrats, John.
It'll be a couple of weeks before you get it. So what you got to do is, let me get rid of this here, and I'm going to pop our. There we go. Name, address, and telephone number. treasuretalkshow@gmail.com, and we'll get it to the owner, and he will get that out to you in a couple of weeks. So ready to go. Congratulations, everybody.
Awesome. Yeah.
Way to go, John.
So the guy just threw his old bottle in the trash, huh?
Yeah, and I thought, I asked him if he was gonna. I was really surprised he didn't want to keep it, and you know he's I'm not just, but that his girlfriend's the one that found that 4.5-inch Meg, so I think he was still a little sour that he didn't find one. Actually, he was a dive instructor up from the Keys, and actually the other guy that found the 4.5-inch Meg was a diver that had 10 dives, and that guy certified him. So he had his girlfriend and a newer diver with 10 dives, and they both found megalodon teeth, and he did not.
Yeah, they both schooled him. That's
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but some of those bottles can be very collectible.
Yeah, that's what I told him.
Well, so let's talk a little. Because there's a number of people out there, I think, that want to get certified, and they can do that. And when they book a charter with you, let's talk about costs.
Yep. So we make it real simple. You can book 24/7 on Aristacat.com anytime you want, but some of the requirements are that you have to be certified to dive. So nowadays, certification is a lot easier than it used to be. You can do about 60% of your certification academically online. And then you can coordinate with a dive instructor, and they can either stay. Most of the people will certify in a place called Lake Denton down here in Florida, but any place in the country will do it. Like they'll do it in a pool or a quarry and all that stuff. So you can literally, if you do a private, you can get done in a week. If you do it with a class, which is a little bit less, but they're getting more competitive now, you can get that done in a couple weeks.
So the cost of the charter, like say, I got certified and I wanted to go out with y'all, and it cost me X amount.
Yeah, the trip costs $110, and that includes 2 tanks and weights on the boat. So you show up with your dive gear, and you just hop on the boat and hook up to a tank. Now, if you are new and actually to be certified, they require you to own your own mask, fins, and weight belt. So what we have is we have all that too, but we also have BCDs and regs, because most people learn how to dive and they're not quite sure they want to do it yet. So we have BCDs and regs, and a BCD is $20 and a reg's $20.
Okay, the BCD is
for rent. Yeah,
you can rent them from
that a little bit better.
And we have that right on the boat, so you just step on the boat and it's sitting there waiting for you.
Okay, so if I had all my own gear, my own BC and regulator, and you guys provide the tanks, I bring and the weights necessary. I can bring my own weight belt, all my own gear.
Yep, 110.
Rims, everything, and you guys provide the tanks.
Yep.
And
most people are, when they're here, they're traveling, so they don't really have the space to carry their tanks or weights. Right. So it's
that's for a half-day trip, a 2
tank 4-hour trip is 110.
Well, that's usually probably enough for people, I think, wouldn't it be?
Yes, that's correct. And if it's not enough, we do an AM and a PM trip, so you can do 4 tanks in one day.
Well, that'd be a lot of time, wouldn't it, Jamie?
Yeah, a lot of people like to do that though, because they don't live here year round. And I got a guy that's here from Kentucky, and he brings his family members down, and they dive with him too. And they on the week they'll come. He'll dive Monday through Friday, one trip a day, so he can spend the rest of the time with his wife. And then on the weekends, he'll have his son fly down from Kentucky, and they'll do AM and PM trips on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, he's smart in spending only doing one trip during the day.
Yep. Oh yeah.
If he doesn't spend the time with his wife, he ain't gonna do no more trips.
That's right. And I've actually got quite a few people that do that. I've got 2 or 3 major divers that call me. One of them that lives down here in Lakewood Ranch in Sarasota, and he comes down all the time and just comes in the morning. And he figures by the time he gets back home around 1 o'clock, his wife's just waking up and ready to go do something.
Well, that's good. Now, how do they reach you now? Aristakats.com?
Yep, that post you put up there with the thing, it's just, that's how the spelling is. The cat spelled with a K-A-T, not C-A-T. Aristacat.com, and there's a whole web page there, the booking sites there. All the information you might need is right there, but you can always just pick up the phone and just call me.
That's right.
So
put your phone number up.
Yep. Phone number's easy. It's a backwards T when you look at it, other than the area code, 941-321-0852. So when you look at the phone, it's a backwards T, up and over.
Okay. So what is the water temperature now?
So the water temperature gets as cold in October, around 64 to 60 degrees. And right now it jumps up real quick. We're almost up to 80 degrees. So I love the fact that it's 80 degrees, that it's literally, you can dive with your bathing suit and a t-shirt. We call them rash guards.
Yeah. I was going to say, the water getting up there warm.
Oh yeah, it's nice. And in the wintertime, we do 60-minute dives, and we like to know when you're going to come up. So that's why we say 60 minutes. And then in the summertime, we do 90-minute dives. So right now, you're getting 90 minutes per dive, 3 hours underwater, which is amazing. That's plenty of time to find what you need to find.
Yeah, I would think so. Of course, you're not really any deeper. How deep do you go?
25 to 30 feet of water, and as shallow as like 10 feet.
So you get to, it's good. You don't have to worry about the compression and all that kind of stuff.
Nope. That's the thing. We always tell people 1 atmosphere is 33 feet. So all you got to do is come up nice and slow. The golden rule is no faster than your smallest bubble that you're breathing out of.
Well, if they've been certified, then they know about that kind of stuff.
That's correct. Yep.
You see, Captain Matt, he got us a little. If people are going, what? He said the second atmosphere. And they go, what's he talking about?
Yeah. 1 atmosphere is 33 feet. So we're never really, above or below one atmosphere.
Well, he was kind enough to explain that in very good detail for us.
Great.
We didn't feel like, the morons from Missouri.
Oh, come on.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we did have some comments here. JPP Hobbyist said, I would be the one hunting teeth and leave my husband at home in bed.
We do. We have some females too that dive with us. I actually just lost a female that used to dive with us, and I think the reason I lost her is because she got a boyfriend. Now she's spending more time with her boyfriend than she is with diving.
That'll be short-lived. He'll mess up. She'll be back.
Yeah, she changed her hobby.
She'll be back. Find some more of those 5-inch teeth for sure if they're worth that kind of money.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be looking all the time. What other type of fossils are as valuable as that? find?
I mean, mammoth teeth are really popular. Megalodon teeth is what everybody looks for, to be honest with you. But mammoth teeth, we have whale teeth. We have another thing that's neat for you guys hobbyers is we get 50 cow shells out here because in the 1940s, this was a training base at the Venice airport for the pilots to go over to, Japan to fight World War II. So they would do strafing targets out there and practice their 50 cow shell shooting in the water. So we still find those kind of bullets. And the fun part about that is to look at the bottom of it and they're stamped on the plant that they were produced from and what year.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yep.
Okay. It looks like we got a question. Where did you get that elk at?
a little off subject. I got that on the western slope of Colorado a couple years ago. It was he scored 333, 6x6. I guess it's done got dark in here. I guess I could turn a light on for you.
Yeah. And then Ricky T's asking, do people who find those big meg teeth, do they really sell them?
Well, I'm not sure. Matt, you want to answer that? Or you want me to answer that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The people who find the big megs, do they sell them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We got trophy hunters out here.
Yeah. I've got that gentleman I told you about that gets home before lunchtime or at lunchtime for his wife. He's got a company, he calls it Sharktooth Creations or Sharktooth Auctions, and he'll literally go out and find his teeth and he'll make necklaces, earrings, all kinds of looking little jewelry. And he started off doing it to pay for his hobby. But now he's actually, he's got a following for people that do that stuff.
Yeah, we had a guest. Yeah, we had a guest that does that. Fregosa.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that they could do that to pay for their hobby, but that's treasure hunting. That's why we're doing the Treasure Talk show with the fossils.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. It's all part of treasure hunting. It's all,
yes, sir.
It's just a really cool part of it too.
Yeah. Did you see this question, Phil?
No, I did not. Oh, do you ever find any camel teeth or horse
yes,
teeth?
Horse and camel teeth. That's funny they asked that. I neglected to say that, but yes, we do find those.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
really
I kind of
cool.
covered that in the very beginning. Sloth, camel, horse, obviously meg, and I forgot to mention all the other species of shark, sand tiger, the list goes on with the other smaller sharks. I mean, we find a whole bunch of them. Absolutely.
Well, that's great. I tell you what, Philip, our hour's gone. So
Yes, it is. It is gone. So Captain Jamie and Captain Matt, thanks for coming on here with us and sharing about your business in this.
Yes, sir. I apologize for being a little bit behind. So
you did an awesome job and answered a lot of questions. So hopefully a lot of people will be coming your way to get a charter and get out there and find some of those teeth.
So anybody can, even if they're not a diver and they want to know something about local knowledge about Venice or fossils, they can either send me a message on aristacat.com. I got a message screen right there, or they can call me on the phone or anything. I'll be glad to answer any local questions at all.
Awesome.
Well,
thank you.
Folks, if you want to find some shark's teeth and some other really cool stuff, get yourself certified. Be a perfect summer vacation for you people in the north. Get down here. You can get certified in a week or so. Come on down, hook up with Captain Jamie or Captain Matt, get out there and get you some of that.
Yes, sir.
Well, folks, thanks again. Thanks again to our many members on Treasure Talk who are here. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Captain. And thank you, Jocelyn.
Thank you, Captain Matt, for being on here too.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job.
Thanks.
For sure.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
All right, thanks.
Yes, sir.
So,
Bye-bye.
everybody, we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Next week, we're going to have a young lady from Brute Magnetics. She is one of their top influencers, and she's going to be here to talk about Brute Magnetics, and we're going to give away a magnet. So make sure that you're here next week for Brute Magnetics. Phil stocks them in the shop. As we always say, if Phil don't have it, you don't need it. So we want to make sure that you're with us next week. And thank you, Phil. Thanks, Jocelyn. And thanks to everybody for watching. And we will see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat time, right, Phil?
Happy hunting and dig deeper, my friends.
That's right. Good night, everybody.
We'll see you, Jeff.
Bye-bye. I'll talk to you